Hey, hope your day's going well. This is a follow-up video to the previous video that I did about a 6-day road trip that I made, more or less for a photography road trip across the country. I wanted to make a follow-up video in case you wanted to know what happened after that. I know that I like watching videos and seeing what the follow-up is or what the conclusion is, so here we are. We left off in Farmville, Virginia, where we were seeing the Carter Freeman jamming at the Three Roads Brewery. And what happened was I had a chance to spend some time with Carter. He showed me around. We went into Richmond, Virginia, and we got to go to the GWAR Bar. I was so excited. This was so badass. And apparently one of the members of GWAR started this bar. Mike Dirks, or Ballsack, the Jaws of Death, was one of the owners of this bar. Doing research on this video, I unfortunately found out that he had passed away previously. So, rest in peace, Mike. Thank you for being you. The GWAR Bar was also nominated the third best dive bar in Richmond in 2022. Yeah. After we checked out a couple of things in Richmond, Carter took me around to some of the old Civil War locations around Virginia. That, once again, I'm into historic locations. I had a chance to take a look at some of these old Civil War destinations, we'll call them, battlefields. Not going to go into the history very much. I'll give you some names as far as where we were at, like the Battle of Sailor's Creek. The Hillsman House. One of the really cool locations I thought was the High Bridge Trail in Farmville, Virginia. An old train line that's been turned into a bicycle/walking track. It's really, really cool. And then we also visited Camp Paradise. So this was actually the night or the day before Halloween. So we spent Halloween in the Appalachian Mountains around Carter's neighborhood, where he's familiar with, and I was so excited to spend some time for Halloween in the Appalachians because I'd heard so many stories about the cryptids that hang out there, and I was so excited. We made a list of all the cryptids we could think of, like the skinwalker, the rackbat, the East Coast Bigfoot, the Mothman. We had our whole list of cryptids that we were going to be looking for. And you know what we found on Halloween? Nothing. Not a damn thing. I was so disappointed. We had our Proton packs, we had our skinwalker nets. We were gonna catch us some cryptids and drink some beer with some skinwalkers. But I was so disappointed we didn't find anything. But we had a great Halloween. It was awesome. So after Halloween, I took off. I had spent a couple of days hanging out with Carter. We played a bunch of guitars, hung out, did a bunch of stuff in Virginia, did a lot of photography. was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Got to watch him perform a couple of times at some locations. And if you're in the Farmville area or in that part of the country, look him up. He's a great musician. He does great shows. I'll put the information in the description of the video. So like I said, I took off after Halloween, and after I had met up with Carter, I really didn't have a plan after this. I knew this was more or less a bucket list / adventure trip that I was on. So I was 4 hours from the Atlantic Ocean or the East Coast, so I put my finger on the map, and Carter kind of helped me come up with a couple of ideas, but I ended up going to the Outer Banks. I went to Devil's Hill, North Carolina, and I had rented a hotel for about 3 days just to go out there and experience the Atlantic Ocean. I got there, and it was a really, really cool town. I was basically I was able to go by Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers did their flight. I got a chance to see the retired gravedigger. They have a gravedigger museum on the way in, and I got to the hotel and set up base camp, and took a couple of days to just go check out the area. To Roanoke Island, lighthouse hunting. I wanted to get some photos of some lighthouses. So right across the bridge from Nag's Head, crossing over into Roanoke Island, there's also a really, really cool little town there called Manteo, which is a very, very picturesque, old-style town that's surrounded by a lot of harbor activity and boats and things like that. So that was really cool to take a look at. then I went out to Hatteras Island, and what was very fascinating to me, I went out there, and there is a lot of a lot of water sports, air water sports. So I drove out to the lighthouse at Hatteras Island, and what do you know, it had scaffolding all around it, so I was unable to get a really good photo. I was kind of let down, but this is part of the experience. From Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, Hatteras Island is just over an hour in driving distance. And on the way, it was really, really cool to see the landscape. You're driving through almost a tunnel of sand on both sides of the road. It almost looks and feels like a post-apocalypse story. On the way back from checking out the lighthouse at Hatteras Island, I did have a chance to stop at Bodie Island Lighthouse and get some pretty cool shots. It was a pretty impressive structure. And just down the road, I found this really cool old house sitting out by the beach, and it turns out it's an old abandoned life-saving station called the Oregon Inlet Life-Saving Station. It made for some really cool photography, I thought. And then in the surrounding areas, there was also some really cool desert shots against some of the structures like the highways and the bridges that were stretched in the same area. So drove back into town, got some really cool shots of the really cool beach houses and condominiums and apartments, and there's all kinds of really cool structures. This is an adjoining town is Nag's Head to Kill Devil's Hill. There's a few little towns right in a row, right in this area. So it was really, really cool. Now the challenge that I ran into is I do a lot of food photography. So I usually make deals with restaurant owners or managers to come in, do some food photography. To do some food photography for them, for their social media, for their menu updates, and then also do some videos or reels if they want to. And the challenge I ran into in this town was after I got there, and it was after Halloween, so it was around the 1st of November. So everything's dead. It's more or less a ghost town. All the restaurants that are trying to cater to tourists and things, they're closed. They're not even in business at that point in time. So my plan kind of went out the window as far as doing photography for some of these businesses. So I had a chance to meet the owner of the hotel that I stayed at. He was really, really cool guy, and I had offered him if I could stay there a few more days, if I did some photography and video stuff for him. And this is just coming up with resourceful ways of going about the travel thing. This is where what I'm getting at is look around, try and find a need, see if you can fill it, and if your skill set aligns, then you're golden. This has been one of my experiments, and what I had viewed about the world was a lot of people get caught up on how you're going to make the money if you're doing the travel thing, and I'm the same way. My theory was that there's money everywhere, there's cool people everywhere. If you can provide a service or help them overcome some kind of a challenge they have, you can keep on cruising, and that's exactly what happened. Not to say I wasn't getting a little stressed out. Now at this point I'm completely out of my comfort zone. I'm on 3,000 miles away from where I'm accustomed to being. Never done anything like this, but that's part of the adventure to me. So there again, back to my story. I was looking into what I was going to do after those 3 days that I had rented the hotel. I didn't want to re-up because I had I have a budget, and I know where I can go and where I can't with that budget. So I was looking at campgrounds. I had a whole bunch of camping stuff with me. I don't mind camping. That's fine with me, as long as it's not cold. So basically, I had talked to him about doing the photography thing, and the last day, I packed up all my stuff. I hadn't heard from him. Like I say, packed up all my stuff, got it ready to roll. 2 hours after I'm ready to check out, I get a phone call. He says, come talk to me up at the front desk. I went up and talked to him. He let me stay for another week, and I ended up doing a bunch of photography and video for him for his hotel. And there again, the reason I'm telling you this is just hopefully you can think about how to be resourceful in situations like that. And this is obviously a first world challenge, I know, trust me. Anyhow, I stayed there for another week, and I ended up actually working with the guy and making a good friend with one of the guys that worked at the hotel. What I had found out was that they had recently opened, so they needed a lot of help just doing landscaping and doing, morning stuff. And I'd never worked in a hotel before, but hey, here, let's do this. So, and in the meantime, when I wasn't there, I had a chance to go out to like Roanoke Island again, check out some of the sites on Roanoke Island. So like the Elizabeth II, I got to see the downtown. I stayed in Kill Devil's Hill for about almost 2 weeks, and that week had actually turned into 5 more days because we had made another deal. So just to give them a plug, if you're planning on visiting the Outer Banks and specifically Kill Devil Hills, check out the Ocean Sands Beach Boutique Inn. They have great rates, the service is awesome, they're 2 blocks from the beach and close to a lot of other attractions. So hit them up. And ultimately, I got to the point where I needed to start moving. I was either planning on going either back to Tennessee, going to Florida, or going all the way back to the West Coast. And ultimately, I made the decision to just start heading back to the West Coast. Holidays were coming, winter's coming. I got to get across Wyoming and Nebraska because I'm not getting caught in that because I'm allergic to the cold, and I just don't want to risk it. So 5 days. It took me 5 days to haul ass across the country. I did make some stops. So I stopped at Monticello, drove through, got some footage of some of the beautiful scenery around there, and I got to check out the Meadow Run Mill and General Store located by the Michie Tavern. I got to stop at the Wild Turkey Distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, which is a really, really cool facility. Had a chance to talk with some of the bartenders there. They were really, really cool. Beautiful, beautiful facility. I'd highly recommend it if you're in that area. Go check it out. Driving through Kentucky, I was just amazed at how green everything still was in November. I really, really fell in love with that whole Kentucky, Virginia / Tennessee area for some reason. Everything is still alive. It's still brilliant. Even in November, I was really blown away, and I just wanted to make sure and share that. I stopped by the Sisters of Benedict Monastery in Ferdinand, Indiana, and this is a structure you will definitely drive right by if you don't stop. I mean, they do have a sign out by the freeway, but they only have one. Sometimes there's build up. There's a couple signs to give you the heads up. This had one sign, and then I asked one of the gas station attendants, what it was, and they told me what it was, and I was like, I gotta go check that out, and it didn't, and it was really cool. I stopped at the Auto World Museum in Fulton, Indiana. Right when I got over the Nebraska border, I ran into this steamship that was turned into a museum. It's called the Captain Meriwether Lewis, and I had never seen one of these huge steamships in person, so this was pretty cool for me. And it's in the town of Brownville. Up until this point, as far as rain is concerned, I had maybe an hour of rain within a month of this whole trip from Idaho or the Atlantic Ocean. And then on my way back, I got to Nebraska and I got all the rain, all of it. It just started raining for hours, and it was just, windshield wiper like this. You can't see, you got to slow down or else you're going to run into something, something's out there. Yeah, so that lasted for a couple of hours, so I got the rain out of the way, so that was handy. And then I hit Wyoming, and I apologize, I didn't get many pictures there, just because, like I say, I'm allergic to the cold, and it was 17 degrees when I was cruising through there on my way back to the northwest. So I went through Utah, got back to Idaho. Like I said, it was 2,671 miles in 5 days. I was doing 8-hour drives. Did have a chance to stop here and there, but not nearly as much as I did on the way back, because I was, at that point, it was just haul ass and get back as quick as you can. So once again, this is a follow-up to the previous video. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video for all the photos that I've showed throughout this video. And if you need help with any photography projects, hit me up. I'm not sure if I'm in your area, or if you need help with video or video editing, hit me up as well. I'll put my contact information in the description. And if you like the video, make sure and like and subscribe. And I'm going to leave on a note that I hope this doesn't come off as a video where I'm trying to toot my own horn. I honestly am making this so that I remember, because I'm getting older and I'm starting to not remember stuff. But also maybe give you some encouragement once again. If you're someone that's stuck in a rut, you've been doing the same thing, you need to get out of your comfort zone. It's painful. I'm not gonna lie, it is absolutely painful. I'm not gonna say that this was anything easy for me. There was a lot of mental trauma, or I'm not gonna say trauma, that's an overused term. I think there was a lot of mental push-ups. Let's call it that, mental push-ups. A lot of I don't knows, and are you cool with the I don't knows? I'm gonna have to be cool with the I don't knows. There again, I don't mean to be a broken record, but I am a single dude. I don't have, my kids are raised and gone. Therefore, I can make, different decisions and take different risks, I guess, than someone that has responsibilities. So I hope I'm not coming off that way. I know some people are not in the position to do anything like this, and rightfully so. So there again, hopefully this can be an inspiration to you. And let me know what you think. Let me know things that you've done to get out of your comfort zone, and maybe some tips and tricks that maybe you can give me on how to do this differently. Thanks for watching. Make sure and have a great day.